if I told you that stretching your hamstrings is not going to give you flexible hamstrings? What if I also told you that your hour-long classes that you go to a few times a week is also not going to give you flexible hamstrings? You see, flexibility and mobility requires strategy. It's very important that you understand what needs to happen in order for muscles to lengthen, in order for muscles to relax, and also for them to be supple so they move freely with you. So I'm going to give you 5 hacks to get you flexible hamstrings really quickly. And I'm talking that you will feel the difference right away. So let's go ahead and get right into it. The first thing that you need to do is warm up not just the muscles that you want to stretch, so the hamstrings in this case, but the muscles surrounding your hamstrings. So if you're going to be stretching your hamstrings, the 3 things that I recommend is to do at least 10 to 20 bridges. I should just lie all the way down. I'm like avoiding it because of my clip. But doing bridge lifts like this. And then after you've done 10 to 20 and you're really going to feel that warm up happening, send your legs out further, like really, really far. Flex your feet so your heels are going into the ground and then lift up your hips. So now you're going to actually feel a hamstring activation. Very, very important. If you want to stretch your hamstrings, you need to make sure that they're nice and warm. Another way to warm up the hamstrings is to grab your leg in front of you like this and flex and point that foot. You want to start to get that blood flow going and then also wake up the nerves a little bit. And we will get into the nerves in just a second. But the main thing is that you want to get things flowing and moving along that posterior chain. Because if you just go straight into that stretch, number 1, you're stressing out your body. Number 2, your muscles are not ready. They're not warm and that blood flow isn't there to actually help you relax into the stretch and to actually provide everything needed to lengthen that muscle. Number 2 we're going to get into is the nerve flossing. So I mentioned that in number 1. You need to make sure that the nerves along your hamstrings are also released. So we will get into the full posterior chain, but if you kind of want to put that focus onto the hamstrings first, a great way to wake up the nerves is like the stretch that I told you about in number 1, pointing and flexing. You can really get further and deeper into this when you start inviting some pelvic movement. So if you're sitting like this, and you may only be able to sit like this with your knees bent, totally fine. What you want to focus on is moving the pelvis. So if you send your pelvis back in the seated position, you're going to feel a really deep stretch. And then if you tuck it back, so we're kind of waking up the nerves here. Very, very important. Same thing will happen if you round the spine and lean forward. You're sending your thoracic towards the back of the room. Rather than stretching the muscles, we're getting into the nerves. So this is how you pull that nerve, is by kind of creating that pull along the spine. You'll get into the nerves here. And then another way is creating a cross-body stretch. So if you want to get into the nerves along the hamstring on the outer side, you're going to want to pull your leg across until you feel a stretch on the outside of the leg. So you'll feel it, you'll know it when you feel it. Very different from a hamstring stretch. You're going to be getting into the side of the leg there. So those 3 stretches are going to get into the nerves. Crucial before you start stretching, and you want to be doing these every single day, so don't ignore your nerves. Our nerves are actually one of the main reasons we have so much tightness, because people ignore them or just don't know that they exist. Totally fine, that's why I'm here to help you. So number 3, we're going to be talking a little bit more about nerves, is getting into your feet and ankles. Obviously, our bodies are connected. I think sometimes people think of our bodies as like separate beings entirely. Unfortunately, not true. Whatever you do and feel up in your head is often connected all the way down to your feet. So even things like menstrual cramps can be connected to tight feet. So if you release tension in your feet, you may feel some relief there. Just a little interesting fact there. So same thing happens with tight hamstrings. What you want to do is tuck your feet under like this, and I actually often have a lot of people that can't even do this. Totally okay. I want you to know that I see everything. When I'm teaching and you're like, that is so advanced, she has never seen what I look like. I have, I promise. So If you feel like you cannot come all the way down, just go as far as you can. So, I mean, I've literally had people unable to even tuck their toes. You kind of just want to play around with what you can do, right? And if you truly, truly cannot sit like that, you can also come to a wall and then just bring your feet up against the wall like that and then push. I can't do that because of this, but you just push yourself forward and then you'll feel that foot stretch. So once you've stretched out your feet, place your hands on the ground, and then you want to get into the Achilles and the calf. Because obviously if you've got tightness there, that's traveling up the chain, everything is going to be tight along that chain if this is tight, right? So just make sure that you're getting into your feet and your calf and you just push back. You'll really feel it. It feels really, really nice. And unsurprisingly, it's not just the bottoms of the feet that's going to travel up that chain. You want to stretch the tops too. So you can just tuck your toes in and push forward like that, and then untuck and then tuck, push them forward again. I cannot believe that there is a leaf blower right outside. I really want to continue with the video, so I'm going to try my best to just push out that sound. I am so sorry. Okay, trying to continue. All right, so release your feet, and then that is going to travel up that posterior chain. So one more thing that I want to talk about with releasing your feet and ankles is a pedaling down dog. Cannot sleep on this movement. I know it's common. The reason it's such a popular position is because it's so incredible. So really just coming into your down dog, draw your one heel down, lift the other, and then switch. So powerful, an amazing way to get deep into that posterior chain all the way down from the bottom. And you can really play around with releasing your feet here too. That's the fun part. Number 4 is to introduce eccentric stretching. So what does that mean? That means that you're working the muscle in a lengthened position. So it's going to be contracting and then working in that lengthened position. So a great one for this is hip hinges. So you can come with a slight little bend in the knee and then hinge forward, send your tailbone up, lean back, and then come back up. So this is a great way to introduce the eccentric stretching. It's not too much work or anything. Something that I like to do is add a weight, right? So then I'm really working that muscle and you're gonna feel it the next day. I highly encourage you to start with very light weights first. You will not realize how weak your hamstrings are until you introduce weights and you're just like, oh my goodness, it's like my hamstrings have never worked and it's really hard to even move. So you can really do a lot of work there without realizing it. Another great way to work your hamstrings is with balance. So you can start with your leg behind you, a little bend here, and then lean forward. You're gonna really feel that nice deep stretch and then coming back up. And eventually you can kind of come to a place where you're lifting your foot up and you'll lift up and continue like that. A great way is to kind of arch the spine once you're down and then you can round, lift back up. So a lot of work going into the hamstring there. You can actually look up my hamstring classes and I have all this information in a class for you. So you can actually practice it real time with me. I recommend doing that. The 5th and final hack for hamstring flexibility might surprise you. Like I said, everything is connected, right? So your spine is the foundation of the body. If your spine is stiff, immobile, inflexible, you are going to have a lot of issues releasing everything else in the body. And you really need to also think about the fact that the spine is directly connected to your hips. And if your hips are directly connected to a tight spine, that's going to affect your hip placement and that's going to directly impact your hamstrings and so on and so forth. So if you're going to be stretching your hamstrings, make sure, and you should do this daily anyways, that you're doing at least 10 to 20